Trail cameras can be a great tool, but many people overlook the little details that prevent them from using them effectively. So in this video, we're going to walk you through step by step how we use trail cameras to consistently pattern and kill deer. We're even going to go into a hunt where we killed one of our biggest bucks using these tactics to show you exactly what we mean. When you look at the right details, trail cameras can teach you a lot of great things. Where's their core area? Where are they bedding? Where are they feeding? And most importantly, are they killable? The very first thing that you've got to understand when you're reviewing your trail camera pictures is which pictures that you should care about and which pictures you should just ignore. Because the vast majority of pictures that you're going to get, you should be ignoring. So the very first thing that you should do is just ignore any pictures that you get that are outside of 2 hours within daylight. So if you're getting pictures at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight, just ignore those. They don't mean anything. Then on the flip side, what you want to do is focus on when you're getting pictures within 1 to 2 hours of daylight, because those deer are going to be bedded closer, and therefore you got a better chance of killing them. So you want to focus on those deer that are most close to daylight. And if you're not getting those pictures, then those deer aren't overly killable anyhow, so don't focus on those. That would be a great time to move your trail camera to a different spot to see if you get a little bit different result. Once you're honed in on that window, then you got to start paying attention to the finer details. If you're getting a picture of the same deer, for example, multiple times consistently, that deer is using that area consistently and you're close to that deer's core area, which means that you've got a much better chance of making a move on that deer and seeing it during that time period. Daylight pictures are obvious. Those are the deer that if you're getting those, you're going to have a really good chance to kill those deer if you play your cards right. So then all you got to do is start breaking your pictures down into morning and evening to figure out what it means. Let's start with evening. When you're getting evening pictures, what you want to do is pay attention to that first picture that you get. And when you get that first picture, you want to take a look at where that deer is coming from. What you're looking for is where is that deer's butt pointed? And that deer's butt pointing is the direction that he's working from the bed. Therefore, you have a pretty good idea if you're consistently getting pictures of deer coming from a specific direction that they're bedded over in that direction. If you're getting pictures of deer coming from all different directions during that time frame, then their chances are they're bedded all around you, which may make it a little bit trickier to try to get in there and kill them. Morning is the exact opposite. The morning, you want to look at the very last picture that you get, and that's going to tell you where that deer is headed. So that last picture you get, you're looking at where that deer is facing, and that would be a good indicator of where that deer is going to bed. If you can correlate those two pictures where you're getting evening pictures of them coming from that same direction that they're heading in the morning, you've got a really good data point on the fact that that deer is bedded over there and that deer's bedded close. So you want to then position yourself to hunt with that wind down there blowing towards you, and so you can be downwind of that bedding spot and they can move into that spot without knowing that you're there. This is where entry and exit is critical, because if they're bedding where you're trying to enter, you're screwed right from the get-go. You got to figure out a different way to get in there in order to keep those deer from getting blown out as you're trying to get to your spot. When you're consistently getting morning pictures, it's going to be really tempting to go in there and hunt in the mornings. Please never do this. This is like one of the biggest mistakes that hunters make. Hunting mornings is generally a bad idea, because if those deer are coming into that spot during the morning, they tend to congregate and linger around that area. So if you go in there and try to hunt in the morning, chances are you're going to bust those deer out of there. They're going to know you're there, and they may stop using that area altogether. Instead, you need to be patient, wait for an evening hunt with the wind blowing in the right direction, and go in there and make your move then. If you're in one of those spots where you're consistently getting pictures, but they're like an hour after daylight, then you need to wait for a cold front or some other weather event, and that'll trigger that deer to get up early, or at least tip the odds in your favor. And that's when you want to go in there with the right wind to hunt that. But you got to be patient, you got to make the right move, or you're going to ruin a great opportunity at a very patternable and killable deer. So now let's go into that hunt that I mentioned. Here's a picture of a buck that we got in the early morning from one of our cell cameras. And we were headed out to hunt. We had to make a decision. It's like, that deer's there in the morning, but we knew that he was going to bed close, and we even noticed that his leg was broke because we knew this deer pretty well, and it happened recently. So we figured he's going to be really close by, and therefore we're going to go hunt someplace else in the morning, and we're going to come back in the evening. So that evening, Phil and I both went in there and set up on stands that were going to have the wind in our favor in case he went to one of a few different spots that we knew that he would go from his bed. And sure enough, didn't take long for some does to start to show up, and then all of a sudden Phil looks back in the woods, notices a big limp, and knows that it's this big deer coming his way. He'd gotten up early in order to get some food and check some of these does. It was the early part of the rut, So then all Phil had to do was manage all the eyes and ears around him in order to get a shot and be patient. That deer ended up coming in, making a loop around to approach the stand location. We had the stand positioned perfectly in order to be able to account for that. And then it was just a matter of then getting the draw off without all the other deer noticing, and Phil decided to just go for it, knowing that he had all the eyes and ears around him. He's hoping that those deer, if they did see him, would take off and it would just make this deer stop and stand and look, and it's exactly what happened. So the next time you're checking trail cameras, pay attention to these details, and it's going to dramatically increase your chances of success in your next hunt. Hope you liked this video. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell to be notified of new videos, leave us a comment below with any questions you have. We always answer, and make sure that you click right here to watch more of our videos. Thanks for watching.